Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to episode 100 and...
Devon!
There we go. Of the Sofamanager Scottish Football Podcast. I have been ill recent times, hence why we weren't here last week. So John helping me out with the intro there will also be probably your main protagonist this week. On the mend, fortunately, back for this week's episode. And what a cracker we have during the festive season. As you can tell if you're watching our YouTube episode, John is in resplendent Christmas colours. Previous outing was in November?
End of November.
Park, a little bit ahead of the curve there with his Christmas jumper, so happy crimple there. On this week's show, we'll be talking about the Scottish football clubs and where they might land in the English pyramid. John's very well researched. He's got a large document in front of him on his Macintosh there. So we'll be treated to some fun facts, and no doubt we'll be angering many a fan base.
This is going to be the most controversial episode ever.
Yes, be it north or south of the border, perhaps, depending on what we reference. We will also be talking about the Old Firm League Cup final, probably, and the Shenanigans. Shenanigans is probably a bit of a light word that surrounded that, as well as a bit of a rant about the Scotland World Cup draw.
Yes, which hopefully we won't be sleeping by that point because it is a boring draw.
It is a boring draw. That's a very good point. Anyway, joining myself, sick man Paul, it is Papa Crimbo Jumper himself, John. Hello, John.
Hello, Paul. It's fellow sick man John here.
Oh no. You're sicker than I'm sicker than you. It's that time of year. I think everyone's they've got some sort of seasonal flu, right?
Indeed.
Anyway, on that brilliant note, let's get straight on with things, shall we?
Indeed.
Right, topic number one. And this was slated for last week, we should point out.
Yes, I can't remember why it came up in conversation, but it did.
It did, and actually, having had a week in which Rangers actually played Tottenham, which is probably quite a handy result to put things into context, and might change one or two things about your document, maybe?
A little bit.
No, the Mac went to sleep at that point, by the way. Remember that's a no one.
An extra bullet point, I think.
Okay, a tiny footnote. So you have it structured in your document going like alphabetically.
I've done it on league positions when I was actually writing out. So I
would like to do that as well in terms of the highest in the pyramid to the lowest in the pyramid.
Indeed.
So
I don't know why I keep saying indeed. That's weird.
Indeed. So who do you have highest in your Scottish footballing pyramid to slot into the English leagues?
So I have actually based this on like the league standing. So it's Celtic's obviously top of the league at the moment. So Celtic's the first club will basically kind of poke through, I suppose. Now, there's kind of two aspects to this, is where they would be here and now, current squad.
And with the cashola.
Where they could potentially be within a kind of 5-year period, roughly.
Okay.
I think that's kind of where the kind of argument really kind of starts to stem from, is if you say, for me right now, you look at that Celtic squad, they would be struggling at the bottom of the Scottish Premiership.
The English
Premiership, sorry. Picking up the result here and there that would make them just about safe in that league, but give them a 5-year sort of period, there is a fair potential to be pushing top 6.
So you're saying a team like Southampton would run them close
in the first season, given their squad? Absolutely, yeah, of course.
I would put them a little bit higher than that. I think a lower mid-table Premier League team.
Yeah, so I'm talking like 15th.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The thing about it as well is, look at Newcastle. Like in one year they can be qualifying for the Champions League, in another they can be just avoiding relegation. And there's a lot of teams like that in the Premier League. So this is an estimate because no one consistently finishes anywhere in the Premier League. Really, it kind of goes up and down.
I mean, if we're kind of talking dossier,
yeah.
So
give us the facts.
I kind of went through it. So you're kind of thinking about the certainly previous Celtic players who've kind of went down to England.
Yes.
So you're talking guys like Matt O'Reilly who just went down to England in the summer. Granted injured, so it's difficult to say what kind of season he would be having, but he's obviously for kind of Brighton level, which is top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a good midfielder to have, and Celtic would have him.
Definitely.
Virgil van Dijk, now, granted he is playing for Liverpool now, he went and joined Southampton when they were kind of mid-table-ish.
They were better than mid. That was the sort of
Kind of top
last
again,
peak.
Kind of top 10. I'm
The
beginning.
Europa League qualifiers.
Yeah, I'm beginning to destroy my own argument saying they would finish 15th. So Van Dijk, of course. You got Chris Ayer again, Brentford.
Is he still there?
He's still there. I
Oh,
don't
good
think
for him.
doesn't play all that often, but
Plugged away quite the career.
he did for the kind of first season he was there. Again,
Did he briefly play with Kilmarnock? Have I made that up?
he did. Yeah, I think that's where he had a kind of breakthrough at Kilmarnock while on
Loan. Is that
Loan.
something? Okay.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's maybe the case.
I'm never wrong, so no need to correct me.
well. So again, that kind of mid-table-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting argument. I'd never thought about the signings and where they landed.
Particularly where they landed straight away after. Because I know people will turn in and go, well, Virgil van Dijk is the shining beacon of what Celtic could be. Yes, but he did go to Southampton first.
Yes.
They had the potential, so you could argue.
I don't think he doesn't speak that fondly about his time at Celtic either in terms of the quality of play. Not necessarily the club, but the teams he was playing against and what he learned.
I mean, at least he's got the kind of dignity to do that after he's left and not do like a Kenny Vargas. Well, he's still at his club and berate the league. I
think that's a mutual thing of hatred between two fan bases. I think the Matt O'Reilly's ones recently is interesting. There was someone that went to Birmingham who I think was with the Japanese contingent.
Well, blame me. There's a few of those guys that came in at the end of Angie's time.
Yes.
Who I would struggle to kind of name.
So one of them went to Birmingham City. They're in League One.
League One. Spending a lot of money though.
Yes, so that's a bit different. Scott Wright also went at the same time and he's not playing.
No.
Anyway.
Lyndon Dykes is there as well.
Oh, is he? Oh dear, is he playing?
Doesn't get a game. No.
Okay, great stuff. So yeah, I think by that logic, they're probably safe in the Premier League, is what we're saying.
Yeah, like I say, I'm kind of talking lower to mid-table because these are obviously guys that are now left. So I am looking at the current squad, but this is the possibilities that the kind of Celtic have. I mean, the obvious other ones there are sort of Ryan Christie, obviously Bournemouth, and starting every week, doing quite well. Edward at Crystal Palace, not really getting a game, not doing very well.
He was never... Because he followed Dembele, and he was never as good as Dembele.
He wasn't as good as Dembele, no. I thought
is he as good as Kyogo?
A different kind of player. I would say, is he better or worse than Adamida? That's a better kind of comparison. I would say he was a lot better.
He's definitely got more goals and played a bigger part in the team.
£9 million he paid for Adamida, remember?
That's pretty strong money.
That's a lot of money. And the other one as well is, of course, Kieran Tierney.
Oh, is he still there?
He's still at Arsenal.
Oh, is he? Not really though, is he?
If you consider what he had kind of done when he went down, he was a star man for an Arsenal who wasn't doing all that great at the time. So again, feeds into the narrative of kind of mid-table, lower to mid-table.
Yeah.
I mean, you're again, the kind of next bullet point on this one is like, you're looking at, again, the current squad, guys like Alistair Johnson, Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers, are these all English Premiership level players? No. Maybe CCV, but...
Yeah, I think, they've done all right in the Champions League this season.
They've done all right in the Champions League, in kind of one-off games.
And you're probably benchmark against that as like Aston Villa, and how do they compare there? Now, they're not doing as well as Aston Villa. But they're still in a qualification place, Again...
They have done really well in one-off games.
They've not actually really played many English teams in recent memory.
So they've played... God, I'm just coming through my notes right now.
I remember Manchester United like 2006. Okay,
Seven,
6 is exactly what I was going to say.
I think it was Nakamura's free kick.
Oh, glorious.
Phenomenal. That was about 2006. It must have been, roughly 2006. Celtic, in terms of, they played Man City. That was...
Well, they beat them, didn't they?
Yeah, was that Rodgers' first time at Celtic? First time round?
Yeah.
Patrick Roberts played. It was a 3-each draw at Parkhead.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the result was at the Empty-Had, but the
shots fired, John, on our huge podcast here.
What can I say? But again, these are kind of one-off results. Would they be able to do it consistently over a season? I suspect not. But I'm talking about the first season they're in. So this is always the kind of caveat asterisk is it's the first season in.
They have been incredibly consistent this season. Like, they have just been washing this league. Like, the one blip was a draw against Aberdeen.
Yeah, which was, when you look on it now, it's a complete and utter anomaly.
Well, yeah, because they completely wiped the floor with them 2 weeks later. And were pushed a bit by Rangers at the weekend. We'll talk about that later.
We haven't forgotten.
No, we haven't. Anyway, I think that's some fairly conclusive evidence.
I mean, I think, like I say, that's where it would be short term. It's the looking slightly more longer term,
Yes.
particularly for Celtic and Rangers to an extent as well when we get there, is the attractiveness of that club, both to investors
Yes.
and to players. Now, I would argue quite strongly that in both those aspects, Rangers and Celtic are far more attractive for investors than someone like Bournemouth.
If they were in the Premier League.
If they were in the English Premier League.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're like if you're a Todd Bowley or John Henry, whoever owns Liverpool, that kind of ilk, I think you would far rather sink your money into an entity like Rangers and Celtic, which has the kind of global brand that exists for better or worse.
Yes.
Particularly if you're selling Santa hats in Glasgow. I think that's the kind of thing that would propel them out. Would it make them the all-conquering teams of the English leagues? I doubt it, because there is too much competition. But certainly over kind of a medium term, you would see them top 6, and they would be competing with your Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, both in terms of for getting investment in and attracting players. It
would be a really interesting psychological shift for the fan bases, who are used to.
Yes, 100%. This is a great point.
Now, there maybe was a window of opportunity, and I'm thinking about the Sevco era when they were sent down, when Celtic really weren't playing for that much, in their league. Rangers wasted quite a lot of time trying to get back to the Premiership. Now, and the only sort of comparison you have is the Welsh teams, in terms of Cardiff and Swansea City. Yep. And they're bigger than Cardiff and they're bigger than Swansea.
Oh, by a mile, yes. And they are two teams who had their moment.
They did.
In the Premier League. And
did Swansea not win a cup?
Swansea won. I think Cardiff will win something as well. Or am I making that up?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Aye.
Swansea certainly won the League Cup. They never won the FA Cup, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think it was the League Cup.
Yes.
Around about the same time, Wigan won the FA Cup.
Yes. That was a great era. That doesn't really happen anymore either. There was a lot of great
Meet You celebration.
I saw an episode about him the other day, about how great he was for one season and nobody could understand it. Was it Bradford? It was Brent. I think it was Bradford. Was it Brentford? Bradford? One of them. The maroon and yellow team went to the final as well.
That would be Bradford.
Rory McArdle, former
Millwall got to the final in 2004. I never knew that.
There you go. Okay. So the next club, I presume, is Aberdeen.
It is Aberdeen, yes.
Is it Aberdeen?
Yeah.
It is not Aberdeen.
They're second in the league. No, I'm not doing it on the size of the club. I've said this twice.
I was going to say, we're getting some comments here.
Okay. It's based on the current league table. That's right.
Gotcha.
Because I thought that'd be more fun, rather than just blasting through Rangers and Celtic first.
Yes.
I'd throw in Aberdeen.
Okay.
Because I really kind of struggled for this, because
let's pretend the last few weeks haven't happened.
Because I wrote this about well over a week ago.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm kind of thinking, right, they're not an English Premiership club.
No,
I think
that's fair to say.
Decimated.
I'm on board with that.
In the English Premiership. So then you kind of start to fall into the Championship, right?
Yes.
Into that kind of absolute disaster / euphoria that kind of league can kind of cause. What do you kind of benchmark this on? This is the real kind of thing. So I really kind of struggle with this part. So I started to look at certainly former players that Aberdeen have kind of had over the recent seasons.
Yeah.
And players that have also came back into Aberdeen from the English leagues.
Yeah, where are they signing from?
Where are they kind of coming from? So there's a few kind of examples that I started to kind of pick through. So Kevin Nisbet.
Yeah.
Right. Went from Hibs, which is another kind of example later on. Was a disaster at Millwall. Right, for £2 million did nothing.
There's a lot of asterisks around that.
Well, he went to Millwall, he couldn't cope with the physicality.
I think his attitude probably didn't help him.
Was absolutely stinking.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So then you go, right, so you're not quite at a Millwall level, that's kind of top 8-ish. But Aberdeen are able to attract this kind of guy. Then you look at Ross McCrory.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did quite well at Aberdeen. Quite well.
He did alright, yeah.
Has went to Bristol City and plays fairly consistently.
Oh, right, okay, didn't know that.
But again, they're a kind of middling kind of championship team.
Okay.
I was like, right.
Okay.
He's done relatively well at Aberdeen, done relatively well at Bristol City.
Yeah, so that's the...
So this is where we're beginning to kind of fit them in.
Yeah.
And another kind of good example of that, actually, oddly enough, is Graham Shinney, who...
did quite well at Derby.
Did quite well at Derby, yeah. This is the kind of thing. And I think he was at Craig Bryson as well.
Yes.
I think he had a spell at Aberdeen, and
I think he came the other way, so he came from Derby at the tail end of his career.
Yep. So again, Derby are kind of roughly mid-table-ish.
Are they still in the Championship?
They're in the
I
Championship.
thought they financially imploded.
No, Derby are there. They had their moments.
Good for them.
So this is where I was like, right, okay, so Aberdeen going in, mid-table Championship. Would they do anything after a couple of years in the English Championship? Probably not.
I don't know. That league is so... It changes on a dime, like every other season, depending on a number of factors. It's super hard to predict. Definitely my gut would put them as like a mid to low Championship team, probably.
I could see them, they would just forever exist in that kind of sphere.
Yeah. Maybe have a good year and get promoted through the playoffs.
Or have a really bad year and end up in League One.
But
these kind of things can
that
happen.
happens, to Birmingham City. Happens to Portsmouth. Happens to Charlton. It happens to pretty much everybody.
Yep.
I think my only experience of Championship football was we went to see QPR against Stoke, didn't we?
We did. It was Izzy actually, although he was playing for QPR
yeah,
at the time,
so
stood out like a sore thumb. He was absolutely amazing.
Internationalist who, I think, was it Liam Kelly? Was the goalie at that time for QPR?
I think he was. I'm trying to...
What about Hampden? Why is he falling off the face of the planet for international selection?
Oh, God knows.
Is he terrible?
Because Dykes wouldn't have been there at the time. I think he would have been probably still like Livingston, I think, roughly. It was certainly before then. This was 2019. This was just before pandemic. No, it was 2020. It was just before the pandemic.
Well, I remember watching that game, and would you have said there was that much of a difference between that and a top-end Premiership fixture, between an Aberdeen, a Hearts, a Hibs, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, Motherwell? Probably not.
So again, this is the other element. I kind of particularly talk about it when it comes to looking between sort of the Championship and League One in England versus some of the other teams in Scotland.
Yeah.
Is considering that quality-wise, I don't think there's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Technical ability, don't think there's a huge amount of difference.
Mm-hmm.
What's starkly different is the size of the player, the athleticism,
yeah, definitely.
the physicality, the overall kind of strength of these guys. It's not a case of being technically great with the ball at your feet. It is how fast can you run. It is how direct can you be. How strong can you be.
Yeah.
And Aberdeen, that's not the kind of player that they have at the moment.
But they would adapt.
But they would adapt to it. So this is it. So they would begin to adapt. Again, how attractive is Aberdeen really as a club you would invest in or be attractive enough for a player?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine they're any more or less appealing than someone like Bristol or something like that.
It'd be a long trip from Bristol to Aberdeen, by the way, for an away fixture.
Hellish.
That's probably... we're not merging anytime soon.
That's worse than a cross-country train.
On New Year's Eve. Oh no, that's Avanti, isn't it? Sorry.
That's the kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'd dare say it would be Championship forever.
Okay.
For Aberdeen.
I think that's fair. A lot of people would be happy with that.
I mean, the only glimmer of hope, so to speak, if we're living in this fantasy land, is Bournemouth, who have like half the stadium capacity as Aberdeen. I would probably argue have a smaller fan base than Aberdeen.
Yep.
In terms of kind of catchment, but they've managed it. So if you get the right investor in, if you get some oil oligarch who wants to invest in North Sea and Aberdeen,
but as soon as you get to the Premier League, you have the budget. If you're wise enough with it, you're fine.
You're fine forever, absolutely. And you always get the parachute payment as well.
Exactly. So on to presumably the
Rangers.
next big topic. The Rangers.
Tinfoil hat time.
Oh yeah, I'm really interested to see where you go with this.
I mean, this was again really
drew 1-1 with Tottenham last week, and arguably should have beat them.
The obvious counterpoint to that is they did get beat 7-1 off Liverpool a couple of seasons ago in the Champions League.
Yeah, but we'd all get thumped 7-1 off at Liverpool. At times.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's one-off results.
Yes.
As you're kind of looking at Rangers just now, yes, they have turned a corner a little bit over the last couple of weeks. I'm still really struggling to put them in the Premier League.
Oh, come on.
I really
drew
struggling.
with Tottenham, who
really
are
struggling.
A top-end Premier League side.
I know. They
too middle-ish at the moment, maybe.
Now, again, I am saying this. I wrote this before the Tottenham game.
Yeah. And then the Tottenham game happened, John.
And the Tottenham game happened. So it does change perception. Now, again, it's one-off moments. Yeah, but one-off moments can make a difference.
At the end of the day, right, it's 11 guys against 11 guys.
No,
right? We spend all this time talking about how brilliant the Premier League is. Every week I'm watching Match of the Day. These goals are horrendous. I've not seen a good goal in like 14 weeks.
There is again, it's a kind of quality issue. I mean, there are one or two players in that Rangers team now who are beginning to kind of show what they're worth.
Yes.
Jack Butland will remain a great goalkeeper.
And penalty taker.
And penalty taker. Aye. What penalty? Unbelievable.
Are you Joe Hart? And he actually did quite well at that. We'll let him do that.
Fair play.
Not we. I shouldn't say we. I'm not in that camp.
He's certainly an English Premier League goalkeeper, no question. He's a fabulous goalkeeper. John Souttar again. If he keeps,
is his brother not at Middlesbrough or something like that?
His brother's at Sheffield United, who are flying high in the Championship.
Okay,
top of the league. So again, if you want to use that as a kind of like genetic comparison,
they are the same person.
You basically got a defender there, roughly, who, he would probably get a kind of gig.
Yes,
bottom end of the
yes. Tavernier's brother is
Marcus. Yes, of course,
decent for Bournemouth.
There's other guys as well. I mean, like particularly Václav Černý.
Yeah.
Who I think is actually turned out to be like really quite a decent player for Rangers.
First time I saw him at the weekend, I was impressed.
Every time I've kind of seen him on the telly, he's looked good. He's the guy who's going to sort of create something new. He always wants to cut inside, which is a bit annoying. But again, you're looking at him and going, right, yeah, he could probably do all right. I mean, he's certainly no better or worse than anyone who's playing for like Wolves or Leicester at the moment.
The thing that gets me as well is they sign these random foreigners that you'd never have picked out as having a great season from before or something. And, just make things happen.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are slow burners. I mean, Johnny has been a bit of a slow burner.
Yes.
I think just with the style of player it is. But there are a few guys in that Rangers team. I don't know if it's a case of it's taking a lot of time to kind of get them settled in, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's an adjustment to trying to play with that kind of pressure on them. I don't know. But, there's one or two of them kind of coming through. I mean, I thought like Diomande was absolutely brilliant against Tottenham. And he looked quite good in the cup final as well. So again, there's a guy you're kind of looking at going, he could do it. I mean, Diallo, who's now starting for Man United. Rangers. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but
people talked about that the other day, and I was like, what you have to bear in mind is Diallo, when he rocked up to Rangers, I think was a bit of a, diva. And
maybe, of course, I mean,
everyone like, hi, I play with Manchester United. I'll immediately roll into the team, and they're like, no.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, talking about divas as well, you've always got to think about like Todd Cantwell. So this is another guy. This is the, maybe starts to call into question whether Rangers would actually maybe fit into the Championship as opposed to the Premier League.
Okay. The Drew 3-3 with Celtic as well, who you've also classified as a Premier League team. Not that I'm trying to throw you under the bus.
I know. You're trying to catch me out here. I'm just trying to say that if you are arguing against,
I'm on the Premier League bus, by the way. Jers fans.
I'm 19th in the Premier League.
Oh.
Nah, look.
They have been inconsistent this season.
It's the inconsistency. I'm still not convinced about Clement, although
he is turning a corner.
Turning it around a little bit.
He went from being sacked to now.
Yeah, he's
that result of the weekend will stung, but
we'll get to that. Yeah, they've been again first season in.
Mm-hmm.
With the squad they've got, it would be a relegation battle, right?
Yeah,
but then they would follow the same trajectory as what Celtic would do, as we kind of talked about earlier. They are, or should be, a very attractive club for a big investor if they ended up in the English Premier League. They are a very, very attractive club for players, particularly if you are sort of British and you have that kind of allegiance. Yeah, for sure.
All of the nations?
Home nations.
All right, okay.
Okay. If you subscribe to the Commonwealth.
So not if you're working under the TOC Act, eh?
Gosh.
I don't know if that's how you say that. Is that how you say that?
We're going to end up getting kneecapped.
Anyway.
So we'll move on from the episode. Yeah, when we're talking like probably kind of bottom end of the English Premiership, we get loads of investment. All their financial woes would be behind them,
right, okay.
And they would back up in top 6. There we go. Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
I'm putting the Premier League. They proved it with Tottenham. Aye,
that's what it is.
So are we maybe going to start bundling things together now? Because those are probably the sharp end. There's probably clumps.
We're now in the blob
together,
which I've called the blob.
The blob,
which goes back from a couple of seasons ago when it was really a blob in the mid-table.
All right,
Scottish clubs.
So my question would be: Is there anyone else that makes the Championship in your mind?
Not at the moment. Not in current squads. So that includes Hearts and Hibs, and I know that. But I'm being explicit. It's right here, right now. None of them would make it in the Championship. They would all be in League One, and over time,
well, like
Hearts and Hibs in particular.
Look at Hearts' Conference League campaign. Have they beat anyone that they wouldn't have been expected to beat? Nobody.
Absolutely nobody. In fact, you could probably argue that they've maybe not underperformed, but a lot of it just feels disappointing, and you can feel the atmosphere coming off the telly at Tynecastle. It's just a little bit kind of flat, but that speaks to where Hearts are at the moment.
Yeah.
Hibs are exactly the same. Hibs are an absolute carcass. Hibs are like the Scottish equivalent of Charlton in terms of crazy owners who have no idea what they're doing with basically terrible players. That's where they are.
I couldn't work out because I'd only recently discovered that Junior Hoylett had gone there.
Yeah, I mean, he's there. Dwight Gale's there. It's like a retirement home. Like
Junior Hoylett, I was quite impressed with at Aberdeen. Like, if there was someone you could guarantee a decent cross from, it was him. And that is helpful when you're in situations like that. Those guys are actually... They kind of turned a corner, and then the results have not quite levelled out yet. So, right.
I would say, like, a lot of these guys would end up floating about League One, League Two. That's kind of really where they would be at, because obviously competition starts to come in. These kind of clubs, apart from Hearts and Hibs, aren't massively attractive versus an English equivalent. You know,
City of Edinburgh, you know.
Well, this is it. So again, if you're an atypical American investor, like, and you're going, right, I can either invest in a team in Edinburgh, ooh, lovely Edinburgh, look at the castle, or do I want to go and invest in Accrington Stanley? I think I'll pick Edinburgh, please. Like, you know,
I don't know. We the only place we have Americans at the moment is Dundee, isn't it? So,
no, I think there's US investors in Hibs, is there not?
Is there? Okay. Oh, aye, yeah, you're right, because
the guy that passed away, I'm sure he was American.
No, it wasn't there. There was going to be money from the bloke that also owns Bournemouth and the Las Vegas Golden Knights as well.
Right.
Hibs were going to become part of that setup. I don't know if that ever went through.
I've got visions of Hibs doing an exhibition match in Las Vegas.
Yeah, let's not bank on that anytime soon. Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to talk about our experience in terms of seeing like League One and League Two football. Most recently, we saw Carlisle play Charlton. Now that was in League.
That was League One.
Oh right, okay.
That was Carlisle, who were struggling in League One at the time, subsequently relegated.
Yep.
And Charlton, who are perennial strugglers
everywhere they go.
Yeah, I picked a fine team to kind of fall.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out.
League.
The quality of that game was pretty glib. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, it's attritional football. It is how far. Again, what we kind of say there. How fast can you run?
Yeah.
How strong can you be? How direct are you?
Yeah.
That gets you the results. It doesn't matter about quality. You could be the most technical player on the planet,
but then
you would get bullied.
The thing about this now is you actually look at, there are some Championship players that go down to League One, League Two and actually make a pretty decent career for themselves. There was that spell where all the Falkirk players went down.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, to be fair, there has been a few. I feel less. I'll try to scramble through my notes just to see if any names jump out. The name that's jumping out right now is Ruben Burrell. That's not a good example. I mean, to be fair, right, so there's Jason Kerr, right? Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I mean, Wigan's actually a bizarre link with Scottish football.
Yeah, a lot of Scottish. It's quite far north.
Yeah, good enough. I was looking through their squad. James Carragher, who was Jamie Carragher's son,
right,
was playing for Inverness last season, so got relegated with Inverness.
I don't recall. Did he ever go and see a game?
I think he did once or twice. Yeah.
I don't know if him and Dunk would have got on that well.
I don't know. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, he would have probably still been. Yeah, they would have crossed paths for sure.
Aye.
So he was at Inverness last season, and then, like I say, Jason Kerr and Luke Robinson, who's also formerly of St Johnstone, were at Wigan. Toby Sibic is at Wigan.
Okay.
Hearts last season. So again, you want to use Wigan as your barometer
for all other things.
Mid-table obscurity. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's kind of where we kind of have these kind of guys, and
yeah,
the controversial one is obviously them.
them. So
Rangers.
It's just pretty much everyone else in League One. There's no one in League Two.
I think over time you maybe see somebody like St Johnstone.
You probably would have put a Livingston or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really going to go down the pyramid now, I mean, over time, teams like Falkirk, Dunfermline, it gets to the point where a game where I'm being really kind of the minutiae of this.
Aye.
It's like, yeah, you've already got basically, what is it, like, must be 48, 50 clubs. I'm going to have to tagline that at the bottom again. We're looking at 40 to 50 clubs already in English League 1, League 2, and then you're adding in another like 30 to try and squeeze all that in. It's really kind of Scottish levels.
Yeah, as the pyramid, it broadens out massively, but the actual difference is quite small, really.
Yeah, I think you're talking, it's money's the driver, so this is always the thing.
Yeah.
If you take money out of the equation, of course, it's just a case of what club is more attractive as a place to live, to play, and everyone can make their own mind up about that, because I'm already in enough trouble. So.
I'm sure with our demographic you'll be perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move off from that and we'll talk about the Old Firm Derby.
Woohoo! Oh yes.
So this is your chance to redeem yourself.
We're getting all the hit points here, like
3-3 after normal time and after extra time.
Yep.
On to penalties, and Celtic come away winners 5-4, I think it was.
5-4 on
Pretty good
penalties.
penalties, to be fair. I had my Premier Sports subscription for the hockey and things like that, so I had it on the background. Not going to lie, I was bored out of my mind.
Really? I thought
the worst thing we could have done was put on that 2011 replay, because I'm watching it going, hit him, come on, where's the foot, put the foot in, and there's none of that. There's just none of that. And to be fair, a little bit of it is probably a little bit of weariness from midweek.
Yeah, that I'm annoyed at that to a large extent, because Celtic had a fairly difficult Champions League game, but it was at home.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
Rangers at home as well.
Sorry, I've got that wrong the wrong way.
Zagreb.
Away to Zagreb.
The second home of Celtic football.
A complete mind blank there. That's terrible.
You're with us now, it's fine.
Get my blue nose back on. So Rangers were, of course, they were at home, so they had all the rest, even though they were playing on Thursday. No travelling, no jet lag.
No.
Even if it was only like an hour difference, never mind.
Aye. Celtic had the early kick-off as well.
Yeah, God, but they're moaning that. Probably back in their bed by midnight.
No, they did alright in the end. They did alright.
To be fair, 2 decent results. What can you say? You come into this kind of game, yes, there probably was a bit of fatigue, a bit of tiredness. It's also, you're coming into that bit of the season now as well, but it's going to be thick and fast in terms of games.
Mm-hmm.
There's no winter break as well.
Mm.
So this was the kind of last chance to kind of really go for it before I think squad management starts to come into things. I have only watched the extended highlights because I went out for Christmas dinner instead.
Oh, did you? Where did you go?
Went to the River House in Stirling.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, very nice.
I've never
Lovely Christmas lights, by the way. I highly recommend going if you've...
Alright. Better than your TGI's exploits a few years ago.
Horrendous.
John sent it back.
I told them to take off the menu.
They didn't know what to do. Oh dear.
Awful.
TGI's Christmas dinner.
Not recommended.
Anyway, I watched it. I missed pretty much every goal because I was doing other things. Most goals were terrible giveaways. There's a lot of chat this moment about possession football. I think there was a Sam Allardyce thing that was like, why is this the way to play football? That's your evidence. This is not the way to play football. You cannot carry the ball anywhere.
Oh, it's stressful.
Freaking Maeda, who runs at a million miles an hour, will get you.
Yep.
And then Celtic try to play out from the back. Exactly the same thing happened there. And it was only some of the later goals that they managed to muster something themselves.
I mean, even then, Grace, so like first goal, Rangers take the lead first. It's I struggle to pronounce the guy's name. Is it Igamani?
Yeah.
Igamani. He capitalises with the slack ball for Taylor, trying to pass it. I think it was over to Cal McGregor.
Yep.
Completely slack.
So bad.
Oh, it was
terrible.
Cameron Carter-Vickers. He tried to sort of square the ball over to him. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Kind of idea. Igamani takes a parry shot, and it's I'm reading from my notes. Who scored?
I have no idea.
Poor show.
I don't know these teams. I barely watch them anymore. And again, this is the difference in era as well. Like, I'm discovering freaking Czerny and stuff for the first time.
Yes, by that way, he scored. Give me enough time to read my notes here.
Aye.
The really funny thing is that when I watched that goal back, and I was like, I've seen this goal before somewhere. If you go back and watch last season's Scottish Cup final, it is roughly the same goal that Ida scores to win it for Celtic.
But in the other,
it's the same kind of thing. It's like that side of the Hampden as well.
Yep.
Shooting towards the Celtic end. Again, it's must be Butland that parries it into the path of Ida, who's charging in. So it's a defender not tracking his forward. I was like, like watching this, it's like deja vu.
Yeah,
kinda,
exactly.
Or just the opposite way around. I kind of seen that coming through, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. That's didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You almost kind of expected Celtic to not comfortably win it, but to win it and to take the lead at the very least.
From the initial sort of blows, it looked like Celtic were in control, but Rangers perhaps looked the more dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of panned out as the game went on. It was like, anything you can do, I can do better.
Well, this was it. I mean, certainly again, kind of watching just before that goal. I mean, there was a good few chances in terms of kind of balls over the top,
Mm-hmm.
kind of losing the runners a little bit. And that was on both sides. Had you had a shot quite early on, Cole Casper into question. You know, sort of Kyogo doing the same.
Hadji's has an interesting story arc, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, going from playing Rangers B in the Challenge Cup to now playing for Rangers.
You would never have pegged him as actually sticking with it. Because like he's been there a while now.
Yeah,
like,
to be fair, like
we used to. I remember, I think, doing posts on him when we initially started up the podcast socials and stuff, and that was a good 4 or 5 years ago now.
I mean, I do wonder if Rangers kind of bought him thinking, hopefully he'll develop, hopefully they'll be able to sell him.
Be like your
And
dad.
be like your dad,
Be
exactly,
like your dad.
100%. So I mean, Rangers take a 1-0 lead into half time. That's probably as good as they were going to hope for at that stage.
Probably.
They probably felt quite confident, you know, after that. And then the kind of absolute mayhem starts in the second half. Really, it's like what Celtic equalised 56 minutes. Taylor on a kind of redemption arc.
There you go.
He takes the shot. It does take quite a kind of big deflation off Proper, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes a Bass Butland. Quite lucky. Again, as you say, quality in terms of like smashing the top bins is not there, but nevertheless, a goal's a goal, no count. And it's Maeda who gets the.
I love Maeda.
Yeah, to be fair, he is brilliant to watch.
He's so fast and he runs everything down. And he's honest as well. Like, he will not go down easy.
Yeah.
There was a bit, I think, was it Diamandi? Is it Diamandi's his name, the Rangers bloke you were talking about?
Yes.
He went down like a ton of bricks after Carter Vickers had like blown some fresh air in his direction. I was like, get up, son. Go back and look at that freaking 2011 game and see what should constitute a dive, because that is not it.
Aye, Scott Brown would be taking legs. And
Actually, fair play to the commentators as well, because I thought they were pretty diplomatic while also calling it pretty fair. I thought the balance of Alan Hutton and Neil Lennon actually worked pretty well in that case. Did you not like them?
Oh, thankfully the highlights I watched had no commentary at all, so I just got to enjoy it.
I thought Hutton and Lennon did an alright job, actually. Breath of fresh air.
I mean, I thought I had made kind of stuff, and oddly enough, it was Nico Raskin. He had a bit of the kind of slack pass there over to Balogun. I think it was. He was trying to get the ball to.
Is he usually a centre half?
Balogun, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Shows you how much I know.
I think he kind of drops in and out between Balogun and Suter. That's kind of been the kind of switch around.
This is definitely the first time I've seen Tav and thought, nah, he's just.
So he gets roasted later on, I think. For the
Is that a post-changing room event?
pay-per-view for that.
Anywho,
so Rangers do equalise again.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Is that your crowd reaction? Yay! Said the Rangers fans. That's what you should do, John.
It's like, when you get like classic.
Read it as a Christmas children's story.
I could do like one of those like the old kind of pathy 1940s videos as the English voiceover.
And the Rangers player said, "Yay!"
Short corner routine. Diomande cross collected by Diomande.
Oh, okay, you're hurting my soul with that impression.
So like ball comes in for Diomande's back to goal. Managed to kind of swivel it, and I think it's Kyogo actually takes a slight deflection off it, takes away from Schmeichel.
Goodness sake, should only count for half.
Yeah, so the shot on target, so I think it still kind of counts as their goal. I think that's how that works.
Okay.
You're thinking, right, 2-2. We're getting there. We are getting there. Now, Ida goes down looking for a penalty. No chance. Absolutely no chance. It's a shocking kind of dive.
Yep.
And Celtic go 3-2 ahead. And at that point, that's like 87 minutes. You're thinking,
job's a good one.
Game's done. I mean, like, Rangers have pulled themselves into this already.
Yeah.
And again, they've effectively, you're kind of thinking, blown it basically. Oddly enough, it's kind of Ralston. This is actually where I think Tav kind of gets caught out a wee bit. And I think it's also Yilmaz, oddly enough, just goes absolutely flying after the ball and leaves all the space in the world for both Engels and Kuhn to kind of just peel into.
Yeah.
Leaves this gaping
Two
hole.
very dangerous players.
Two players you just don't want to do that.
No.
I mean, Kuhn takes the run right through the middle. He starts to kind of pull the defender in. You're kind of left with Engels, has all the space in the world for the ball to go out to him. Plenty of time to control it. Perfect cut back, and there's Kuhn just went to tap it in.
Yeah.
And I think Diomande kind of goes down. It looks like he was just shard. Trying to catch up with Kuhn, basically.
I've seen his diving antics earlier in the game, John. I know what he's about.
He kind of slips, and you're thinking, at that point, like, he looked so done and so deflated when that went in.
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
Even just without, even knowing the result, I was like, this.
Yeah.
that should have been it. The Rangers do pull it back for each, of course. Journey absolutely does my head on the right hand side, skins him. Deep cross, brilliant cross, and I think it was Danilo gets the equaliser. Great header between getting the position between Carter Vickers and Ralston. Ralston probably should be more goal side, but
I think we just accept him for who he is at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Stricker did really well just to kind of make the space for himself, gets the goal. And I think, Christ almighty, for each. But I was sitting watching the updates on my phone coming through, and like, right, this is their day. It has to be their day because you keep coming into this. You can't keep pulling rabbits out of a hat like this without
something.
The luck is on your side.
Yeah.
And then there's VAR. VAR comes to the rescue for Celtic.
Yes. Now this is interesting because Sir Bobby Madden of the Secret Lodge of Freemasons, and all that jazz, has been pretty vocal about this was a penalty.
Oh, there's no doubt it was a penalty. Like, absolutely no doubt.
To play the devil's advocate,
there's no devil's advocate.
You're in a cup final. You're on the edge of the box.
Granted, it's like 117 minutes or something.
Yeah, there's a wee bit of a niggle where he's pulled down. The ball's not even really near this, essentially, at the time. It's over now, maybe because he's been pulled away. To be fair, that's why the ball is nowhere near.
It's a penalty all day.
So what's the deal?
So, like, first of all, like,
and what I haven't seen a big Rangers uproar about this per se.
Have you not?
Oh, has there been a big?
Have you been under a rock for the last couple of days?
I've changed my Twitter habits recently, where I kind of only look at my own things. So, like, that's maybe.
I think
so. They're furious about it.
I never knew this had happened. It's, oddly enough, it's not picked up in the highlights.
Oddly, this happens.
Yeah,
this happens a lot.
Nah, it's Premier Sports. They're a part of the SFA bias anti-Rangers.
Right.
Premier Sports.
No, but obviously the money was put under the table to make sure this game happened, and then they got absolutely done over.
Right, okay.
They got absolutely done over by the fact that Man United and Man City was the same day.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I tell you, that must have hammered their numbers. Absolutely hammered their numbers. And also,
I don't know about that,
because I bought a car on the very same day.
What did you?
I did. And you usually drive about and the roads are dead when a Rangers Celtic game's on. They were not dead. And A, I think because this was a different time of day, and B, the whole Premier Sports thing. People don't have it as much as they do Sky Sports.
That's potentially an issue. Yeah.
So there was not as many eyeballs on what was potentially the best Old Firm game for a long time.
For a while, absolutely.
Even though Paul's review is more boring than it would initially have seemed.
Full circle.
Yes. So your controversial comments, now my controversial comments.
We're doing well. Yes, there's 100% a penalty. No getting away from it.
Just get rid of VAR, right? Get rid of it. The worst thing to happen to football was the replay, if we're honest.
Yeah, I would only keep it for offsides, because that is cut and dry.
Who cares?
It's cut and dry for offside or not. It's semi-automated now as well.
Ahead of another player's shin.
Yeah, he's offside.
I know, but it makes hee-haw of a difference in the grand scheme of things.
He's offside.
And frankly, they'll score more goals. It'll be more entertaining.
He's still offside.
Football's entertainment. We care about it too much.
No,
it is. It is. If football stops tomorrow, does the world change, John? Nah. I didn't give you a chance to answer that.
I would disagree with that profusely, but never mind. It never happens. You can't go back in time, unfortunately or fortunately.
It is an interesting thing, though, because, if you're a referee, you are refereeing Celtic against St Mirren, right? And you think, do I anger 10,000 people?
Oh, right.
Or do I anger 5 million people? Now...
That's a lot of St Mirren fans.
Aye, right. Now you're on the fence of, do I anger 5 million people or do I anger 5 million people? Now, I don't know what the demographic of actual Rangers and Celtic fans is, but let's put that as a rough estimation.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, you did that without much success this week. So, like, why? I
mean, when it's that clear and obvious, though.
Well, why?
Well, it has to be there.
No, but like, why didn't they give it? Then is what I'm saying.
I've no idea. This is the real question. This is when. Well, you've obviously not seen Philippe Clement's post-match interviews.
Are you serious?
Particularly in the press conference. At the end, he basically stands up and says to the media, "I hope you investigate this." I was like,
I mean, that's the thing,
kind of pot kettle when it comes to
football
firm as well. To be fair,
yeah, football moves on, and the nature of officiating is that, well, if he's not going to do it, who else are you going to get to do it? Is what they say.
What they should do for a laugh is
fans to do it.
I went to Armadale Thistle against Keebles last Saturday.
Of course you did.
There's a SFA ref, and then it's a club representative runs the line. Although when I say runs the line, stands at the halfway line,
raises the
with
flag
every now and again,
again.
Because they're basically in their 70s and can hardly
I
move.
believe that.
But what a laugh that would be if you had to pick a former player, right?
Yeah.
So you could have Neil Lennon and Alan Hutton on the line running respectively.
Yeah,
that
would work really well.
That'd be a lot more fun.
There would never be a through ball played ever.
It'd be one half of decisions completely going your way versus a second half not going at all. We're kind of going on a weird tangent as well now. Penalty, 100% never happened. Tough luck. We get to penalties, and Yilmaz misses. Not a great penalty.
I don't think that's fair.
More controversy though.
Okay.
So first and foremost, why did Yilmaz take a penalty?
Yeah.
Why take the fourth penalty when you have, I think it was Dessers and someone else, Kieran Dowell, who came on during extra time, allegedly, never put themselves forward for penalties.
Right.
That's why Butland had to take one. That's why Yilmaz had to take one.
I didn't think his penalty was bad. I thought the placement was pretty good.
What? Nah, there was nothing really on it.
There wasn't.
The keeper guessed the right way, and because he guessed the right way, because there was nothing on it, it wasn't kind of properly tucked into the corner.
But you have all these factors. Do you blast it, i.e. Butland, and try and get a bit of everything? Do you place it and just hope you've got the right way? It is what it is. There was not many bad penalties there, but yes, they were big Jessies about it. If you are Rangers star striker in particular,
I mean, Dessers and
you should be the first one up. Sod this, try to wait to the end to be Mr. Big or whatever. And this is not just them; it's loads of other teams. You see, defenders are stepping up way before your midfielders, your strikers, and things like that. And
absolutely,
it's just big wimps, isn't it? I know as well. I keep getting all these social media clips of all these podcasts, mainly of Roy Keane loving himself greatly. But they're sort of reminiscing back in the day, and they're talking about, I remember going to Juventus and it was Trezeguet and Del Piero, or you'd go to Inter where it was like Ronaldo, or AC when it was Zlatan and things like that. And it's like, you look at the Premier League now and who has those reputations. You could argue you're Haaland's, but
he is not a character, he's a robot.
Yeah, but
that's the problem.
He's an incredibly good striker.
No, he's not.
He is an incredibly good striker. He's fast, he's physical, scores a bunch of goals.
When he wants to be, he's a good player. That's part of the problem there.
But he's a much better striker than any other Premier League team has. Who else can you tell me is the prolific goal scorer that has the sort of reputation as soon as you see them?
I mean, he is a traditional striker that doesn't really exist anymore in football.
Yes.
You could argue that's a bad thing for sure. I have no idea why that has anything to do with who takes the penalties for Rangers.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if you are the number 9 of your team or whatever,
yeah, you should be taking the penalties. I mean, that's why Ida steps up first and takes the penalty for Celtic.
There you go.
That's the comparison. I feel sorry for Yilmaz because I thought he had a really good game against Tottenham on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Having kind of seen the extended highlights and that, yeah, I kind of highlight it. He kind of made a bit of, it's not really a mistake, but his kind of judgment, I suppose, for Celtic to go 3-2 ahead.
Yeah.
He maybe kind of rushed into that a bit more than he should have. it's just a shame that's the way penalties go. That it
Yeah.
falls to one individual. That individual will be scrutinised. I suppose in his favour is more people are kind of pointing to the fact that Dessers and why do I not remember his name? Never bothered to step up. Conor Barron as well. Conor Barron was on the park. He's a midfielder. He
Yep.
should be taking penalties ahead of Yilmaz.
Yep, big Jessies. Shouldn't even got to it, but it did, and it happened. But they're close, and
Getting better.
yeah, let's hope that we actually start to see some more competition going
Hopefully.
forward.
So the next Old Firm is on 2nd of January, which I've completely forgotten where it will be. I think it's Ibrox.
Yeah, I think I can't remember where the first one was.
Again, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on that again, because you're kind of looking at it now. They're in one-off games like that. They're closer than they've been in a while.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think with their game in hand, if Rangers win that, they go above Aberdeen 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I think
So,
the Aberdeen bubble is already burst.
Who knows? It might inflate again.
Yeah.
You never know.
We
We will see. We will see. Anyway, we'll quickly
jump on to the last topic.
Yeah, the Scotland draw.
Tremendously boring.
Oh, it's so bad. We have been very lucky, I think, in these last 2 years to have some quite interesting fixtures, if we're honest. You
yeah,
know,
definitely.
year one, we signed up for our Tartan Army season ticket. We got to see England, we got to see Spain,
Cyprus,
which was
Georgia.
alright. Georgia, which was alright. It was a classic game because of the rain.
Indeed, yep.
And then we went
Good
from that to being in the Nations League Group A, where Croatia, Portugal,
Poland.
and Poland. I didn't get to see Poland, unfortunately, but I did go and see Croatia and Portugal. And now we are going to see North Macedonia and Belarus.
So we've got
Belarus.
Basically got the loser of Portugal, Denmark. And
That whole thing made the draw very confusing.
it's so silly. There's too many groups. I mean, there's what, 12 groups.
Yes.
Seems
So wait a minute, right?
Too
See
much.
if you win one of these playoff Nations League games, does that guarantee you qualification for the World Cup?
no.
Oh, right, okay.
So-
What does it guarantee you?
There's a Nations League kind of like finals tournament happening
Right.
this summer,
Right.
to which there's only 4 teams that kind of go to it. So it's so it's kind of like basically 2 semi-finals, a final. I
Uh-huh.
don't even know I don't think they play a third place game either. It's
Okay,
just,
what do you win?
you win a wee trophy, but
Oh, right, so
There's
there's no Euros
there's no
or World Cup
actual
places.
substance to it. It's just another
Okay,
trophy.
pointless. So we're probably expecting Denmark here.
Yeah, I'm expecting Denmark. I mean, there's kind of 2 ways of looking at it. One is obviously I think Portugal are a better team or nation than
Yes.
Denmark.
Yes.
The second is if you win, whoever wins that kind of tie probably goes into a slightly easier group as well.
Yes.
So the winner of that goes into a Group F, which is Hungary, Republic of Ireland, and Armenia. Arguably, that is probably easier than Greece, Scotland, and Belarus.
It's incredibly boring again.
Equally-
Greece. I forgot about Greece.
Equally boring.
Yes.
So, like I say, Denmark, I quick look back. I mean, we've played them, oddly enough, in the last World Cup qualifiers in 2022.
Oh, does we?
When we beat them 2-0 at home.
All right.
G. Adam scored an absolute, that's the kind of absolute classic move, flowing move. Park, and G. Adam scores just outside the box. We did get beat 2-0
There.
in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Slightly more recent sort of meeting against each team was 29th of March 2016.
Mm-hmm.
1-0 home win in a friendly.
Yeah.
My first ever Scotland game.
Really?
Yeah.
I went to see Belgium with our friend Darren.
Our friend Darren.
Our friend Darren.
I forgot to mention our friend Gary. He's not got any of these.
There we go.
Oh, well, you never know. Maybe he does.
Distinctly remember being waxy lyrical about why Michy Batshuayi was actually better than Romelu Lukaku.
Was
for
he, is
90
he a
minutes.
traditional striker as well?
Well, yeah, he was a bit more.
Classic number 9.
My problem was, I always felt he was better than Lukaku because he offered you a little bit more technically than Lukaku did. Lukaku was bigger and stronger.
Lukaku would do well in the Championship, not the English Premiership.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's what he cares about. Where is he now? Is he not in Italy somewhere?
Lukaku?
Yeah.
He's played for Napoli. Who
I
are
was sure I saw him in a
second in the
familiar,
league, yeah.
familiar kit. Okay, the kickoff times for this suck.
dreadful.
Like, Hampden as an events venue sucks. Like, okay, it's great. Stadium's fantastic, looks amazing. Disco lights, all that jazz, brilliant. The transport links are abysmal.
Well, there's one, and it's a terrible train service that
Yeah, you look at
May or may
Murray
not show
Fields, all that jazz. They're on main train lines. There's trams. There's buses. Like all right there.
It's walkable back into the city centre.
Walkable back at the city centre, all that jazz. They freaking close the main road after big rugby games and stuff like that, so that people can specifically do that.
You know why though? Tories, That's the.
But like what? And this is a UEFA mandated thing. Like that these kickoff times are all basically 7:45s.
Yeah. Well, the real kicker at this is the Greece. I don't know what it'll be for the World Cup qualifier, but the Nations League away game in Greece kicks off at 9:45 local time, 9:45 local time.
All right.
So that game will finish coming on for nearly midnight. You can guarantee if you're a fan there, you're going to get held back for 90 minutes. You're lucky if you're back in your hotel for 3 a.m.
That's mad.
Probably for a flight
mad.
following morning at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. It's horrendous for fans. And home or away, I mean, 9:45 even for a local, it's pretty grim.
And there's not even any telly. There's no telly.
Yeah, exactly. There's no telly coverage of this.
No telly. And there's no random out there going, oh, Scotland versus Greece. So what's this?
Particularly international football. I couldn't care less. I don't watch
football.
any neutral international games. Damn.
No, it's horrendous.
So, I mean, that's Denmark. Greece, we played them back in 94, 95, which was qualifiers for Euro 96.
I don't think that has any bearing on today.
Zero bearing.
They were actually probably a better team back then.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can really say about Greece is they got the same. Their Nations League campaign. They equalled England on points.
Yeah.
The head-to-head was the same. It was 3-3.
Yeah.
So the goal difference was the same in aggregate. So it was split by goals scored
against each other on the fixture.
Well, actually, like overall.
Oh, right, okay.
So their head-to-head was exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit I worry that, to be honest, because I think they're actually not a bad side.
I agree. In terms of our prospects here, I am not high on them.
No, I'm disappointed in that side. I think it's going to be a real slog. I don't know what to expect from Denmark.
So is the way this
I want to argue that they're almost a kind of not a million miles from us, but it's going to get to the point where you're just going to cut each other's throats in terms of both us, Greece and Denmark will probably take points off each other.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that the way this works is the top team goes through automatically and the second team gets a playoff spot?
Yes, yeah. And then the playoffs are one-legged, so it's
whoever's
one-legged
the
semi-final.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, I'm kind of struggling. I mean, and the real sickener out of all this is Belarus.
Yeah.
Now, notwithstanding anything that's kind of going politically, they had a look back. Pretty much every game they've played since 2022 has either been postponed or abandoned. They've been blocked from tournament, or they played it in Hungary, and it's been played behind closed doors.
Yep.
So if you're a Scotland away fan or a prospective Scotland away fan, you've no chance. That is the kind of bottom tier team. You want it to be interesting. I think beatable but interesting.
Trip to Cyprus would have been a great one.
Cyprus would have been class. There was a few even like places like Bulgaria. Decent if you get the kind of right time of year. I'm sure that'd be really quite good fun. I mean, Belarus.
I know.
What?
Brutal. A rubbish kick-off time as well.
It will be a rubbish kick-off time. I'm sure that's not the Sunday game.
Probably. But even that first game, which is Denmark or Portugal on the Friday, I'm just like, unless you have the capability of taking time off, which some people do.
I mean, the other really kind of innocuous thing here is I look back on our sort of last couple of results against Belarus.
Yes.
Granted, this goes quite far back. 1-0 away win back in June 97, 4-1 home win for qualifiers for France 98, 2005 0-0 draw. 8th October.
Yeah, but we were not very good.
It gets better. So that was away. That was away in Minsk.
Yeah.
A 1-0 home loss for the Germany 06 World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah. We were not good unless we were playing some giants and killing them, and then actually bottling it when it matters, which I fear is what we're going to do here when we finish third. But we will see.
Yeah, I think we will finish third, sadly.
Okay. On that note, it's probably time to round things off. So, if you have made it this far, I don't think Old Firm fans will certainly have. We'll have lost Rangers fans after feature 1. We'll probably have lost Celtic fans after feature 2. And the one Belarusian that was left is probably gone after feature 3.
I mean, the ironic thing is, Rangers fans probably want you to hang around for.
yeah. We'll entice them back in with some of our wonderful YouTube shorts as edited by John over here. I think hopefully we'll get another festive podcast in for the end of the year, reviewing probably our football year in 2024, because it's been a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, it has, to be fair.
So it'd be nice to have a wee retrospective on that. But anyway, until that time, it is a thank you for listening from myself, Paul.
Cheers, guys. I was going to say something bad, then I'm not going to do it.
What were you going to say? I'm curious now. Can we put it in the outtakes?
I was going to say hail, hail, hello, hello, but then
have a good evening, a good afternoon, and good morning, good night.